Okay, what I'm printing here is a nut. It's in this green PLA 1.75 millimeter. From my last video I was talking about adding some jam nuts here to thrust against this bottom bearing. I've installed those on both sides. I've also got the heat bed wired up and it's working. It's currently at 60 degrees Celsius. I've also created a despooler mechanism up here on top. I've used these rod couplers that were printed on PLA, and I've used some 4 608ZZ bearings in here, and letting the edge sit on those bearings with fender washers on the outside of the spool, so it'll keep it keyed in place. This overhang on the rear of the rods is to allow for expansion. This particular spool is from Makerbot. It comes 3 inches by 8 inch in diameter, 3 inches wide. The Makergear spools, which hold 5 pounds of filament, are 4 inches wide and 11 inches in diameter. So that's the difference in currently using this spool, which actually is full of natural colored ABS. And I just wound this PLA on top of it so I could test to make sure this thing would work. And it is rolling, so it looks like it's doing good. I've also got a little display here of previous prints. I mentioned the mustache ring, and actually this little gob up here in the top left was my actual first print, which ended up being a disaster. It was no good whatsoever. And then I did print a mustache ring, but there was a little flash towards the mustache portion and the ring itself on the left side, and it left the tops and the sides sort of rounded. It's concentric though on the circle, but it didn't satisfy me, so I did print this one in red. I'll talk about it in a second. Then I went to reprap.org wiki. Well, it's reprap.org/wiki/calibration, and found a 0.5 millimeter square, and it ended up being like 0.65 millimeter in diameter. This is a 20 millimeter calibration cube, and it came out really good. It's slightly less than 20. And these 5 were printed all at the same time as one print. They are overhang, check overhang, and the way they print is like this. And you can see how rough underneath this is, because it's never supposed to print beyond 45 degrees, and that's probably about 60. I think the 45 is right here in the middle, and that one printed fairly decently. If you can see the reflection of it, it's fairly smooth. But anyway, these were all 5 printed at the same time. I mentioned the mustache ring. Now this one came out, the top is flat, the sides are flat, the contour of the mustache itself is really good. I'm not sure if I'm in focus or not, but anyway, comparing this with the first one, this one came out really good. These right here are broken because they're PLA, they're not that flexible. And I tried to use them up here on this right here. Now, right after this, I did print these little babies, the fan mounts. One guy that has this same Brutstruder type system found his PLA was actually melting just beyond the drive mechanism, the gear and the pinch bearing right below there. He was having trouble. It was getting too hot. He was doing some very long prints, so I decided to put a fan blowing right into that hole where the gear is, and also he seemed to think the motor temperature was actually going through the gearbox, which is all metal design. So I decided to cool the motor off too, so I put a fan underneath the motor. Now these right here, I designed these two ends. They are right here. I did that in Open SCAD, and right here, whoops, right here is the first one, the one that is installed currently, and it's just simple. It's got two hooks on the end, and it's got this step that allows from either direction of the motor itself, and then the fan itself has the 4 screws in it to hold the whole assembly onto the ends of the motor. It's very simple. So I printed 2 of these, but I ran into a problem. This end hangs down so far that it hits my X-axis idler end right here. So I'm going to have to redesign it. So what I came up with is this version 2 here, which is a 1-piece. Now, this right here currently is what I've got. It's got a hook that's going to hook around the motor horizontally, and it will be sitting on the left side of this motor, hanging down with a fan only bolted with 2 screws, and the right hand side will be free, non-supported. So this is what I'm working on right now. I do have a problem getting the exact dimension. I may have to do a test print when I'm pretty confident I've got the right distance between this step and this little catch right up here at the top. I don't think you can see it from that angle. There's a little catch right there at the top to catch the other end of the motor, so that's going to hold it in place. And then I've also lowered the fan slightly lower. Now it's still going to be above the extruder nozzle, but I'm going to lower it down so it'll go actually underneath here, and I only have to clear it by about 10 millimeters, and that I'll gain back my 200 millimeters of travel there. Currently I'm about 190 millimeters. I need to turn my heat bed off. I usually just after it starts printing, I'll turn the heat off on the heated print bed. It's no longer needed. This PLA sticks really well to that blue painter's tape, so I don't really need it. And what I'm printing right now is a nut. It came off Thingiverse. I think it's called bolt _and_ nut, and it's really not useful for anything. Best I can tell, the threads are it's something like M25 by 5 millimeters, something like that. It's not really useful for anything. And of course the PLA is not as strong as the ABS. Once I do convert over to the ABS, there is some white natural under this green here. I just wound this today. You may be able to see a little bit here on the edge. There's white underneath there. Makerbot sells a 1 kilogram spool, which is 2.2 pounds. Did I say Makerbot? I meant Makerbot. Makergear sells a 5-pound spool, but it is larger. It's 1 inch wider and 11 inches in diameter. So anyway, that's where we're at right now, and I've got a few more minutes here. I'm going to try to, I'm not sure how long this will take to print. It's looks like it's about 33% finished right now, so I'll probably just let it finish the print, and then I'll accelerate the video from here. Oh, I didn't tell you about my last project from last night. Is these are the reason it's blackened on the front. I did just like a while ago. I left the print bed heater on too long, and it sort of blackened it right there on the end. And it also rolled it up a little bit. But anyway, this is a XL pulley, which is a 0.2 inch pitch. That's what makes these Makergear repraps a hybrid, because they're using standard belts and not metric belts. The metric belts would be like a T5 or T2.5 or a GT2 type belt, or 2GT. I'm not sure how that's nomenclature is, but anyway, these are standard pulleys. You have 5 teeth per inch on the belt. It came out quite well. It's untouched from when it came off the machine, and if I can get that in there to show you, can't do that with one hand. It worked out really well. The pitch is perfect on it, and unfortunately it's PLA, so it's not going to be useful. It's not as strong as the ABS. It put a slot in there for a 3mm nut, and then of course you got a set screw hole right here where you can attach it. That's a 5mm hole in the center. Perfect for NEMA 17 motors. Also got one here that has a flange on it. This one was printed as well. It's unretouched after it came off the printer. It did print really well. I was very pleased with it. But anyway, let me see if I can get that one in there too. I'm not quite in the cog. There it is. It came out really well. Like I say, this XL belt is 0.2 inch pitch, so it has 5 teeth per inch. There's 5 teeth per inch. That's 1 inch right there. So that belt is really good. It's this 1/4 inch wide, I think. Looks like it anyway, 1/4 inch wide. I've got some of this that's 3/8 of an inch wide, but this 1/4 is just fine. It's very flexible and works great. Okay, I am just about at the end of my 15 minutes. So I was going to accelerate this, but what I'll do is make another video and show the results of this, plus print the bolt that goes through here. So I'm going to stop right here in a minute at the 15-minute mark. Anyway, I'm very pleased with it so far. It's done really well. I think I may have fixed a skewing problem between the left and right hand sides of these. I'm no longer pulling on these couplings and the micro bearings in the motor. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll make the other video pretty soon. So bye for now.